In Madison, Wisconsin, police say a Molotov cocktail thrown into the headquarters of an anti-abortion group, vandalized with a warning, spray painted on a wall. If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either.
Crazy. So this Madison, Wisconsin pro-life group's office, their group is called Wisconsin Family Action. It was firebombed over the weekend, late Saturday, early Sunday morning, and vandalized. As you see some of the pictures there and also the graffiti on the outside. Officials at the office were wondering how anyone could do something like this, especially as we found out, ironically, on Mother's Day. Watch more.
We've done nothing to warrant this, nothing to warrant a direct threat because of our position on life.
She worries about her pro-life friends as abortion uncertainty continues in Wisconsin.
I've got a team of 8 people. At any given time, we could have a very full office.
Appling didn't plan on being at the office Sunday, especially this Sunday.
How ironic, right? It's Mother's Day, when we celebrate the fact that our mothers gave us life. And here we are with this kind of message and this kind of property destruction.
As for WFA's future,
I tell you one thing, I don't want to be bullied into a move, but I have the security of my team. That's my responsibility. I have to be concerned about that. So we're going to have to take a very, very close look at next steps. I'm not sure how secure we are right now.
That is Julaine Appling, and she's the president of the lobbying and advocacy organization with that group, and she's afraid for the folks' lives, as you could imagine when it comes to something like this happening. So go to the strap. She said that she was getting ready for a Mother's Day brunch in Watertown when a building staff member informed her of that break-in, and a person on the way to the airport before dawn saw smoke rising from the building and called police, is what Appling went on to say. Police said flames were seen coming from the building shortly after 6 a.m., but no one was hurt. This is the local manifestation of the anger and the lack of tolerance from the pro-abortion people towards those of us who are pro-life, is what she went on to say, who said the investigators found the remnants of at least one Molotov cocktail. Appling said that her group won't be intimidated, as you heard there. She said, we will repair our offices, remain on the job, and build an even stronger grassroots effort. We will not back down. We will not stop doing what we're doing. Too much is at stake. Very brave statements there. And also on Twitter, the governor of the state, Democrat Tony Evers, he condemned this apparent arson as well and said, we condemn violence and hatred in all forms, including the actions at Wisconsin Family Action in Madison last night. We reject violence against any person for disagreeing with another's view. We will work against overturning Roe and attacks on reproductive rights by leading with empathy and compassion. We will defend what we believe in with our words and our voices, in the streets, in the halls of government, and at the ballot box. In Wisconsin, we must lead by example. Noble statement there, talking about how we don't want violence. And of course, I think the majority of people would agree with that. But some aren't convinced. I have to give this angle because as I went through this on Twitter, some people aren't very convinced that this is real. So Erin Ryan, friend of the show, who've done a few episodes with her as well, she responded to this and said, color me skeptical. Real pro-choice activists wouldn't graffiti in that live, laugh, love ass font. Again, as you saw, the lady was standing in front of that as well. But Erin continued on to write, same vibes. And she, if you remember that young staffer, I think for the McCain campaign, how she said she was attacked by pro-Obama supporters and branded her face with a B. That was fake. And then I'm not sure how much this got adjudicated with Nancy Mace and the things on her sidewalk. But here's other pictures from it as well. Someone else said, any doubts I had about whether or not this was self-vandalism vanished when I saw this as the 1312 and the anarchy symbol there on the board. I think they're talking about, David, the cursive nature and the nice pretty font and staying within the lines on the doors and whatever that siding is on the building. I guess they figure real vandals a little bit messier and more wild with their writing, I guess.
I mean, I wish that Appling and everybody else would simply wait before launching accusations and saying, this is the anger of the people who are pro-choice. We don't know who did this. I think it's possible that this was done by somebody who's either an anarchist or somebody on the right just to draw sympathy and attention to people who are part of the pro-life movement. Maybe it's also possible, maybe there was somebody who's a woman or somebody who's so mad about what the Supreme Court is poised to do and what this particular group in Wisconsin has already been doing. And think of it this way, when Appling says that she's concerned about people feeling secure, well, what is a woman supposed to do who's pregnant, who's facing some financial difficulties, who had been raped? Is she supposed to feel secure in her future if the government is forcing her her to carry this pregnancy to term? Of course not. And so people are just missing each other on this. And again, let's just wait, let the police do their job. And by the way, if Ms. Appling wants to do anything that would be helpful, install a security camera. Let's all have security cameras. That way we can find out who did this thing instead of just casting aspersions without really knowing.
I know it's part of the Republican Party platform. The vast majority of Republicans support those exceptions for rape and incest and life of the mother. And it's important for some of us to step forward and tell those stories that are often missed.
There's Nancy Mace, Congresswoman Nancy Mace, talking about the fact that there's some Republicans that are actually in favor of some exceptions, maybe even are pro-choice. Weird how that works, because she finds herself in that position of trying to defend folks when she's been getting a lot of pushback just for telling her story, which she continued on talking about here. But her story of being assaulted, raped as a teenager. Let's look at what she had to say about that.
You have spoken publicly about being molested when you were 14, raped at age 16, and how that has shaped your feelings and convictions about rape. I read that you said that it took you 25 years to talk about your attack, and that you only shared it with your mother and one of your good friends. So I wonder what you think about some of these restrictions in states that would require rape victims to provide police reports in order to obtain an abortion.
Right. Well, I can't speak to other states. From experience as a state lawmaker, I know that South Carolina's fetal heartbeat bill would not have passed without exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. And I told that story. I felt it was really a really important story, a story that's often missed and not told because women are afraid. And you can even see in public comments and on social media when I talk about it, the ways in which that I get attacked for telling that story. And one of the things that I think, partially that's missing in this conversation is that when you have it, when Ohio did their fetal heartbeat bill, there was a 10-year-old girl that had been found to be pregnant who was raped repeatedly by her father. And so
Nancy Mace cannot speak for other states, she says. So how can you speak for the Republican Party in claiming that there's actually some members who are looking to protect some rights from women? Because it just doesn't seem to be the case. As a matter of fact, Democratic strategist and new TYT Rebel HQ contributor Max Burns, he had a hell of a thread, and I gotta go through some of this now as quickly as possible. So first off, here's his first tweet. Help me collect the GOP's anti-choice extremism from the past few days. Again, thinking about what Nancy Mace just said about how Republicans actually are in favor of some exceptions. Let's go into this. AZ Senate candidate calls for state bans on condoms. Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn calls for contraception ban except for married couples. Leader McConnell floats a quote possible national abortion ban, which we just talked about a minute ago. Next one for Max. Missouri GOP debating bill to ban women from traveling out of state for abortions. Louisiana GOP declaring life begins, quote, at fertilization. Tennessee GOP law makes it a felony with a $50,000 fine to receive abortion medication via mail. Continuing on, Max. Arkansas GOP trigger law would make it a felony to obtain an abortion. North Dakota GOP Governor Kristi Noem pledges a special legislative session to pass new abortion restrictions. Oklahoma GOP passes Texas-style abortion, quote, bounty hunter law. Next one, Ohio GOP debating 2 trigger laws that would immediately ban abortion once Roe is overturned. Ohio GOP trying to reinstate a fetal heartbeat law stuck in the courts. Idaho's passing a law authorizing civil lawsuits against abortion clinics and providers. Florida Senator Marco Rubio introducing federal legislation to punish private companies that provide travel benefits for women to obtain abortions in states where they are legal. Private companies. Continuing on. Alaska GOP rejects its own state court rulings on abortion, calls for state constitutional convention to permanently criminalize abortion. Idaho GOP openly discussing the idea of banning not only Plan B, but IUDs. Listen to this guy. Let's go to this next clip.
What about abortion pills via mail or IUDs or Plan B? Would you hear legislation to ban those?
I would. Absolutely. There is some concerns, health concerns actually, with the medication that they mail the medication to the woman. She takes them. They can sometimes have a reaction to that. So from a health concerns perspective, yes, I think that we need to take a look at that legislation.
How about IUDs and Plan B though?
Plan B, I probably would hear that legislation.
Representative Britt Crane there in Idaho talking about how he's willing to hear all those things as well. 2 more, I promise. But there's a reason why I'm reading all these is because this is how fervently they've been fighting for this, waiting for this moment. So again, this is talking about Republicans that said there's gonna be some exceptions or that they're not so hell-bent on taking women's rights. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster announces he will call a special session to immediately pass abortion criminalization without any exceptions. Lastly, and finally, there was more though. Alabama GOP will ban abortion immediately following the Dobbs decision becoming official with a law that does not currently contain any exceptions for rape or incest. Weird, someone should ask Nancy Mace. I get it, you're on the right side of this, Nancy, to a degree, but you can't say your party agrees with you because they just don't.